Have you checked the children? Use your little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the horror show. I'm Marsh Parker.
And Jaime and Fuego here. We are pairing back together for another patron review, and we have to extend a grande gracias to Heather Smith for requesting this, even if you are trolling us to the slightest degree. But we are talking about Sharknado 2, the next one, I think was the subtitle. But
I don't remember.
yeah, Syfy Channel original.
You gotta be kidding me or something like this.
They have subtitles for all of these as they continue on, and
Yeah.
as I was even looking on Amazon Prime and all of these and the Prime Video, that by the time they got to the final installment, they were like, Sharknado, the last one, it's about time or something like that.
I love that they have fun with themselves. Like,
Yeah,
in this
I
type
agree.
of movie, you just kind of have to.
Can't take yourself seriously.
And it is
Hell no.
And it's sci-fi, and a lot of the times sci-fi really is not taking themselves seriously. There are some new installments that are doing really well.
Yeah, Blood Drive is pretty good.
Yeah, but this is specific just to make people like happy in life, and I love Sharknado. I love it because it is ridiculous.
Yeah, and deliberately ridiculous, although not as much as like the Sharktopus versus like Super Croc or whatever hell, because they are the purveyors of that sort of crap too. But this is, I think, where they were really starting to have fun with the series. The first film, it was cool for what it was, but I don't think they really embraced the silliness until these later installments.
I don't think they realized that it was gonna go as viral as it did.
They didn't,
there
and
were
that's
so
why they
many
made like
people
6 or 7
so
of these.
excited about this one.
And yet to get excited about the third favorite guy from 90210 and then Tara Reid.
Tara Reid.
I mean, like, come on, man. But still, that first film had its charm, and they tried to crank it up a little bit more in this one. And I guess overall thoughts, like you were alluding to, I was up for the silliness. It's like that old line where they're like, that's almost stupid enough to work.
Right.
And they got a lot stupider in this one. They switch from California to the other coast to New York. And and you've got some new peeps thrown in there. Oh man, and the guy from
Vivica J. Fox is in it,
and the guy from Taxi, who I love. He's driving
Mark
the taxi.
McGrath?
That was. I'm like, is that Sugar Ray in this movie? Like, what
I can't recognize him. He's
what is going on? And
how do I know that guy? I'm like, it's Sugar Ray. And he's like, what?
And there was a few others that I recognized too that are totally eluding me, but
there was a lot of people
I had
in this
fun
one.
with this silliness, and there was a lot more cameos in this because it had become a thing by this time.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
And they made it the following year. Like turnover was right away, which was the thing in the 2000s, whether it was Saw or later on Paranormal Activity. They're like, yo, we got to just make another one of these like by the next year.
Yep.
We got to have it ready for Shark Week in this case.
Yeah.
So you want to hit the story?
Yeah, Sharknado 2. So you get to start out...
The next one.
So you start out, they're on a trip to New York because Tara Reid's character April wrote a book, and they're doing a book tour.
That opening scene on the plane.
Right. And they're like,
Not
on the plane.
again.
No, they're on the plane, and they realize there's sharks in the sky, and it's happening again. And Tara Reid loses a hand. It's amazing.
Yeah. And on it, I laughed so hard when I saw that the guy who was flying the plane was the same pilot from Airplane, that Zucker Brothers comedy. He's the one flying the plane with the girl who played Mary Jane on Half Baked, which was really funny.
There's a lot of Easter eggs.
And she was in The Craft, too. She was the black girl in The Craft.
Yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs in this film, which makes it so much fun. And, I mean, eventually they do get to New York, and then it's, Sharknado all over again. But the idea is that Finn is originally from New York, so he's coming home. And so he meets up with a lot of his old friends.
Trying to meet his sister too, if I remember right.
And to meet his sister and her family, and as his brother-in-law is Mark McGrath. So there's a lot of that.
And they're apparently old buddies that used to just smash chicks and were total buttholes and like those player type of dudes, and they share some of their stories at one point. And it's just like, come on, guys.
What happens in New York is in New York. So
Yeah.
no, and so like, you know, so they go on their next adventure. They end up getting split up, and so he's out saving his family, and Tara Reid's trying to get out of the hospital and saving people at the hospital. And then you're also following his sister, who's also kind of a badass too. So
Carrie Warner? I can never remember her like proper last name, but
Yeah.
or at least the proper pronunciation. But she is kind of one of those sea-level horror goddesses that you saw in a lot of 90s stuff, brandishing her goodies. And she doesn't do this in this because she's a mom now.
she's a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really fun. What's really cool about it is that there was so many different Sharknadoes. So there was 2 Sharknadoes that became one.
The fronts
then-
combined.
And then once the double Sharknado tornado, there was another like Cat 5 tornado, E5 tornado
Yeah.
coming towards it, and it was gonna make this mega Sharknado, and all the bombs are working, and it was complete chaos.
Lack
and,
of success.
oh man, just so much drama and so much fun.
Yeah, because they're up on the rooftop, like trying to launch. He tries to do what he did in the previous
Right.
film and
Well,
launch the bomb.
his son did it in the first film.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah,
right, that's
so
right.
he was all
Take
like,
the
"We
same
gotta
tactic,
get the
take
bombs."
The same tactic.
And it's funny because they go to like Times Square to do it,
Mhm.
and
And
like,
the mayor of New York is like, Finn, I need to talk to you.
yes, he got talked to the mayor
Yeah.
and he's like, he was talking about how like Los Angeles didn't appreciate everything he did for them. And he's like, "But this is New York, we fight."
Yeah.
So it was a lot of that. One of my favorite scenes was at the end when like they did like dissipate the tornado. All the sharks were coming down,
Mhm.
and like they just did this montage of all these New Yorkers going to the trunks of their car, pulling out like weapons, and
Crazy
the, like
stuff. Yeah.
the last car had like was just full of like AKs and guns, like tons of guns. And
when you're not supposed to have guns in New York,
It's
which the
so funny.
taxi driver tells him at one particular point too, which is really funny.
It was glorious. I love this. I mean, the storyline is what it is. You know, you gotta put it together. There's gotta be a Sharknado. There's gotta be some sort of like thing going on to help them. They have to separate and get back together and try to take care of the Sharknado. But overall, it was a good time. It was a good time.
Yeah.
And you gotta throw in the New York aspect, right?
Mhm.
So like everything's tougher in New York. Even the Sharknadoes are tougher in New York.
They are, and yeah, I mean, just rounding out the story, I did have fun with it, you know, in all of its inherent silliness. At this point, I feel like there was a slight more seriousness to the previous film, but this is the one where we're like, nope, we're gonna go full airplane, hot shots, Naked Gun, and you know, mixed with a disaster film and then like Deep Blue Sea sort of thing, and just make it totally silly and goofy and enjoyable. And I guess, like Marcia was saying, that's why these films have the charm and why they kept making them after this.
Yeah.
As far as acting, yeah, 90210 dude,
Ian Zerling.
he's playing it even a little more over the top in this one compared to the previous film, in my opinion. Like when he was owning that little bar on the beach in the first film, but he's been hardened, and he's been like, he's dealing with PTSD a little bit, and you know, which is why even on the flight with Tara Reid, he's looking out and he's just like, not again, and he's just getting really into it.
Sharks and the lightning.
Yeah, and I mean, and there's callbacks to the Twilight Zone episode with William Shatner there, where he thinks he's seen the gremlin on the side, and the cop walks up to him and he's just like, you're gonna stir the crew, and you know, all the passengers, we don't need you doing that. So that was funny, but yeah, he plays his part as he is supposed to in this, and all of the supporting cast is amusing. Mark McGrath, man, what can I say? You know,
he's an unexpected delight.
He was better than I thought he was going to be. I will give it that. I mean, yeah, these sharks just want to fly, and you know, what you want, but yeah.
I think it was missing that. It was missing the song.
If only they could have licensed any of the Sugar Ray songs, would have made it significantly more funny. But yeah, I mean, nobody is okay, it's not great acting, but nobody is bad with what they are supposed to be doing in this. And we
Right.
already touched significantly upon this eclectic cast, including a lot of the cameos. So
Many cameos.
Yeah.
So I like with the Today Show. That was pretty
yeah, the
fun.
fact that they kept using, and not the weatherman, but the other guy, Lauer or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he's
think that's right.
Yeah. I kind of laugh because I know he's got himself in some serious shit from him. He's been Me Too'd and canceled for his nastiness. But I was just like, wow, him and the other dude. The fact that they were so significantly utilized in this, and they also had Strahan. He's the former football player.
From the Kelly Show, or Regis and Kelly Show.
Yeah, him and Kelly. Yeah. So that's where just seeing the presence of national broadcasting people like that showed that the first film was a significant hit on Syfy, and that's why they were able to bring these people on.
Right, everybody wanted to be a part of it. Like, I think after Sharknado 1 came out, if someone's like, hey, do you want to do a cameo on Sharknado 2? Hell yeah, I do!
Shit's fun.
That's what you say. You say, hell yeah! So that made it even more fun. The fact that you got to see all those fun cameos, and it's supposed to be hammy, and I thought the acting matched that. I don't think there's a difference between like horrible, like hammy and not meaning to be hammy, and like hammy because that's what it's called for, ham.
Yeah, where it's written as such and delivered in the same fashion.
You're doing your job. So I felt like everybody did their job. I absolutely love Vivica J. Fox in this thing. Like, she captured my heart, and because every time
when she does horror. She just recently did that Planet and Aquarium of the Dead or something where there's like undead sea fish. So she likes doing this sort of silliness, which I think is cool.
Because she's so badass, and then like you see her on these things, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is gonna be fun. Like, she has fun with it, and it's fun to watch. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, Ian Zerling, I love watching him. He's so much fun. And Tara Reid, it does her job, and she does okay, but she does pull me out every single time. I don't know why, what it is, and I'm like, every time I see her, I'm like, that's Tara Reid.
Yeah, after American Pie, she just never became that prominent sort of actress that she thought she was gonna be.
She just kind of talks. I think it's just the way she talks, where she doesn't really move her mouth, and it just seems so. Like,
she's also very
fake.
gruff, almost like she smokes a lot of cigarettes or something. And like I don't know. She's got that raspy kind of.
She doesn't have a lot of facial expression for me, and I think that's what pulls me out. Is like she just feels a little like stiff.
A lot of the Pop-Tarts from the late 90s just did not become like the Shannon Elizabeths, and even, I mean, I guess Jennifer Love Hewitt, she did like the Ghost Whisperer or whatever the hell that show was called, Ghost Hunter, I can't remember.
But me and her don't mix.
Oh, okay. So, but yeah, so I mean, the cast was elevated in this. I think the last really important thing to talk about is the fact that, yes, it's a made-for-TV movie, and the effects and the production value kind of show it as much, but I'm glad they actually filmed in New York, because so much stuff like this is filmed in Toronto. It's the stand-in all too often because it's cheaper to film in Canada, but they had more money for this movie compared to the Sci-Fi Channel original, and so yeah, I was happy that they actually did it there, and it just had that reflective, proper just kind of feel and vibe. And how about the sharks, though? I felt like the sharks were a little less diverse than in the previous movie.
Yeah, they felt
I wanted more hammerheads, man. I mean, that's just
me. They were. I mean, I felt like I was having more fun with the actors than the sharks, and they didn't.
Agreed. Yeah.
They didn't.
I didn't feel like the kills were as cool in this one either.
No, it wasn't. Well, because it's the same thing. Like, people would get smashed by falling sharks, which still doesn't really make sense to me, that somebody would just like get completely smashed like a piece of hamburger from a falling shark. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, they're heavy.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. But it just isn't, like, visually I'm just like, that just seems strange to me. Or like the shark is landing and eating somebody's face at the same time. I'm like, I don't think that's the first thing the shark would want to do when it's like flying out of the air, but I could be wrong about that too.
Well, and they also can't live on the surface. You know, I mean, how long would the expectancy without being able to?
Yeah.
Because sharks have to move, you know, continually to oxygenate.
And they felt a little bit more like piranha, a little bit like when like people
I see
hit the
that.
water, like all of a sudden they're completely devoured by the shark. I'm like, I don't know. I get it. It's what moves the movie.
Yeah.
And
Check your brain in at
Yeah.
the door and just enjoy because it's dumb.
yeah, but they weren't
it's
as.
dumb fun.
I don't think it was as fun as the first one. I don't think the sharks
agree.
played a
I
good
agree.
as well of a role in this one. I think everybody
Yeah.
was just having more fun with the cameos and just like the idea of it. But it didn't seem a little much. I did like the 3 tornadoes though. That was pretty fun.
Yeah. I mean, you have to up the ante. You have to Terminator to it. You have to Aliens it. You have to have a sequel that's like bigger and louder and crazier. But yeah, it was more so on the casting standpoint, as I'm going to totally agree with you, Marcia. And I felt like the sharks, but it was more so the situation and the peril, and more focus on the actors compared to the carnage delivered from the sharks in this one at least.
Yeah,
So-
it felt like you were just watching it for the cameos and the people versus watching it because there's a shark. I
Yeah.
felt like the Sharknado was secondary to the people. This one.
Agreed, 100%. But yeah, that's the rising success of this particular thing. I try to come up with my stupid quips and I can't off the top of my head.
I mean, this was the second movie, and they made
The
7
next
more.
Yeah. However the hell many it was, yeah.
I think it was like total of 6. Or
They
something.
milked this franchise for a
5.
while, and from what I understand and from what I've seen, because we're about to review the third one, you know, thanks to Media Kraken. So, and the third one being from Media Kraken, but yeah, the series just gets sillier and sillier from what we understand, at least. So. Yeah. Stay tuned here on the Horror Show and the Patreon, obviously, for more of that.
And thank you again for watching. I've been Marsha Parker.
Yep, and if you want to become a patron yourself, tell us what to do, whether it's film reviews, commentaries, or just to get access to these exclusive reviews. The link is in the description below, because often these migrate over to the main Horror Show channel too. Like, share, subscribe, greatly appreciated. And yeah, I guess
Jaime.
I've been Ami and Fuego.
Did I already say Marsha Parker?
You did, but I'm still Jaime and Fuego. She's still Marsha Parker, and remember,
this is the end.
yes, and remember, until next time, Fright fans, stay scared. Wow.